Good!
In January 2015, Albuquerque witnessed a harrowing incident that shook its police force to the core. Detective Jacob Grant, an undercover officer, fell victim to a tragic error when he was mistakenly shot by his superior, Lieutenant Greg Brockle, during a drug sting operation.
Hands up! Hands up!
Passenger, get your hands up! Put your hands
Put your hands where I can see them! Put your hands where I can see them! Good! Good!
This story isn't just about a misfired bullet, it's a tale of missed briefings, mistaken identities, and the dire consequences of communication breakdowns in high-stakes law enforcement operations. Detective Jacob Grant, a dedicated member of the Albuquerque Police Department, APD, was known for his commitment to reducing drug-related crimes. His superior, Lieutenant Greg Brockle, a seasoned officer, had a reputation for being thorough and decisive. However, their paths crossed in the most unfortunate way during a fateful operation. In early 2015, the APD was under intense scrutiny. A Justice Department investigation had recently criticized its use of lethal force, leading to a heightened focus on police procedures and accountability. Amidst this backdrop, the department planned a seemingly routine undercover drug sting on January 9th, aiming to tackle the city's growing methamphetamine problem. The operation was meticulously set up in a McDonald's parking lot near Central and Tramway. Detective Grant, in plain clothes, was to play a crucial role. He was assigned to sit in the back seat of an unmarked police car holding two suspected drug dealers at gunpoint. This was a standard procedure in such operations, designed to ensure control and safety. However, a critical misstep occurred. Lieutenant Brockle, who was to lead the arrest team, missed the morning briefing. Unaware of the detailed positioning and roles, including Grant's undercover presence, Brockle approached the operation with incomplete information. This communication gap set the stage for a tragic misunderstanding, highlighting the precarious nature of undercover police work and the absolute necessity of thorough briefing and clear communication in high-stakes operations. The Albuquerque Police Department's drug sting operation was in full swing. Detective Jacob Grant, along with another undercover officer, was stationed inside an unmarked police car, posing as buyers in a methamphetamine deal. Their role was critical: to secure the suspects until the arrest team, led by Lieutenant Greg Brockle, could intervene. The suspects, unaware of the trap, entered the back seat of the car, sitting next to Detective Grant. As the transaction unfolded, tension mounted. Grant, experienced in such situations, maintained his composure, carefully following the protocol to avoid arousing suspicion. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Brockle, who had missed the crucial briefing earlier that day, arrived on the scene. Lacking vital information about the operation's specifics, including Grant's undercover role and position, Brockle approached the situation with a significant disadvantage. As the arrest team positioned themselves, Brockle, spotting the unmarked car, moved in. From his perspective, the scene appeared to be a straightforward drug deal. Unaware that one of the individuals inside the car was Detective Grant, Brockle prepared to make the arrest. Outside, Lieutenant Greg Brockle, leading the arrest team, approached, unaware that one of his own men was in the line of fire. As Brockle neared the vehicle, his focus was singular: to apprehend the suspects and neutralize any threat. In his mind, the figures in the car were dangerous criminals. The briefing he had missed that morning would have informed him of Grant's undercover role, but without this knowledge, he saw only a drug deal in progress. Brockle, a veteran officer, was trained to react swiftly in such situations. He drew his weapon, aiming at the figures in the car. In a matter of seconds, he fired multiple rounds.
Hands up! Hands up!
Passenger, get your hands up! Put your hands
Put your hands where I can see them! Put your hands where I can see them! Good! 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 Get out! Holly, back out! Holly, back out! Holly, back out! Oh, shit, that was Jacob! Fuck me!
Come to me!
Are you okay?
No.
Come on out, dude! Come on! I'm sorry, man! I didn't know it was you!
The sound of gunfire shattered the morning calm, echoing through the parking lot. The bullets tore through the car, striking Detective Grant repeatedly. The shock of the impact, the sudden intense pain, it was overwhelming. Grant, amidst the chaos, realized he was being shot by his own colleague. His training kicked in. He identified himself as a police officer, hoping to halt the gunfire. Brockle, upon hearing Grant's cries, experienced a moment of harrowing realization. The figure he had shot, the man he believed was a criminal, was actually his fellow officer. The gravity of his mistake hit him with full force. Panic and confusion ensued as the reality of the situation dawned on the team. Immediate action was taken to address Grant's critical injuries. Officers on the scene called for medical assistance, their voices urgent over the radio. Every second was crucial. As paramedics arrived, they found Grant in a dire state, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. The aftermath of the shooting was chaotic and fraught with emotion. Fellow officers, some in disbelief, others in shock, scrambled to provide aid. Grant was rushed to the hospital. His condition was critical. The police department, reeling from the incident, faced a barrage of questions. How could such a tragic mistake occur? What went wrong in the communication chain? The shooting not only left Grant fighting for his life, but also sent ripples of distress and introspection throughout the law enforcement community. The shooting of Detective Jacob Grant by Lieutenant Greg Brockel in a tragic case of mistaken identity brought forth significant legal and departmental repercussions. Legally, the incident was scrutinized under the lens of law enforcement use of force policies and the broader statutes governing such actions. In the context of law enforcement, the use of deadly force is a critical issue governed by strict guidelines. According to the United States Supreme Court ruling in Graham v. Connor, the use of force by officers must be objectively reasonable in light of the facts and circumstances confronting them, without regard to their underlying intent or motivation. This standard, set forth under the Fourth Amendment, considers factors such as the severity of the crime, whether the suspect poses an immediate threat, and whether they are actively resisting arrest or attempting to evade arrest by flight. In Grant's case, the use of force by Lieutenant Brockel was evaluated against these standards. The missed briefing and the subsequent misidentification of Grant as a suspect became focal points in assessing the reasonableness of Brockel's actions. The Police Oversight Board conducted a thorough review of the incident, examining the departmental procedures and the specific circumstances that led to the shooting. This review aimed to identify lapses and implement measures to prevent such occurrences in the future. Following the incident, Lieutenant Brockel opted for retirement. This decision came amidst the ongoing investigation and the growing scrutiny of the department's handling of undercover operations. The retirement did not mark an end to the case, but was a significant development in the unfolding narrative of the department's efforts to address and rectify the systemic issues highlighted by this tragic event. In the wake of the harrowing incident, Detective Jacob Grant, severely injured and facing a long road to recovery, filed a lawsuit against the city of Albuquerque. The lawsuit, a critical aftermath of the shooting, highlighted the negligence and the series of missteps that led to the tragic event. In a significant development, the city agreed to a settlement with Grant, amounting to $6.5 million. This settlement, while not an admission of wrongdoing, was a recognition of the gravity of the incident and its impact on Grant's life. The shooting and the subsequent lawsuit served as a catalyst for change within the Albuquerque Police Department. Recognizing the gaps in their operational protocols, especially in undercover operations, the department undertook a series of reforms. These included enhanced training for officers, particularly in areas of communication and identification in high-stress situations. The department also reviewed and revised its policies regarding the use of force, aiming to align more closely with national standards and best practices. The impact of this incident on the Albuquerque community and the police department was profound. It served as a reminder of the risks inherent in law enforcement and the critical importance of clear communication and strict adherence to operational protocols. The tragic shooting of Detective Jacob Grant by Lieutenant Greg Brockel
back out! Holly, back out!
Was a reminder of the perils of miscommunication and inadequate training in high-stakes law enforcement operations. This incident not only highlighted the need for stringent adherence to operational protocols, but also underscored the importance of comprehensive training and clear communication within police departments. The subsequent reforms and settlement underscored a commitment to learning from this grave mistake, aiming to safeguard the lives of officers and civilians alike in future operations.